Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. Wednesday. Yeah, happy Wednesday to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroy Nation. We're coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy Wednesday to you. I did not know what day of the week it was. This is true. This is true. But it is a Wednesday. It's a hump day. It's a Trump day. It is James Comey got indicted again day. And we're going to go into the case because I saw, a lot of commentary on both sides of the, well, I don't know if I say both sides. There's more than two sides to this whole thing. But I saw a lot of commentary about the case yesterday. I would be lying if I told you I wasn't a little bit excited, but I would also be lying if I told you that, I don't want to phrase this the wrong way. I don't want to start the morning by getting everyone mad at me, but it's let me see if let me get to the I made a post about this yesterday, and we'll talk about that too. Kind of the where this whole thing is sitting right now. I'm not going to tell you that I think the case is a strong case. I think there are some First Amendment defenses possible with regards to what he did. The very first, there's no First Amendment defense for threatening the life of the president. Okay, you're right. If the evidence that has been presented to the grand jury and would be presented at trial, if that evidence would suggest that he did actually make a credible threat against the life of the president of the United States, you're right, and I'm fine with that. The problem that we're having, and I don't think it's necessarily a problem with the case, although we don't know, is all we, the general public, have seen, all we have seen is the seashells post, right? The 8647, the seashells on the beach. That, to me, is not enough to indict somebody for threatening the life of the president. However, I'm not on the grand jury. I think there was more evidence in there. In my opinion, there had to be. So we will get into that. And I'd be lying if I didn't say, screw him. Yeah. It's just, he did this to January 6th. There's James Comey. He tried to put, regardless of your opinion of him now, he was highly involved with the, malicious prosecution of General Flynn. So there's a part of me who was like, whatever, let him twist in the wind. The guy sucks. But I do want to stay grounded on this principle. I don't like the weaponization of government. I'm not saying that this is the weaponization of government. I need to see more. So we're going to take a wait and see and talk about what we know. Then we'll talk about what we maybe don't know. And I guarantee you, I won't say,
I don't know, but I know,
We're not going to do that. We're not doing Finding Nemo here. Okay? Anyway, we have the Comey indictment. So a lot happened yesterday. There's nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. That's what we got for the last, 15 months? So Comey got indicted yesterday. The FBI raided 22 fraud centers in Minnesota yesterday. The Department of Justice indicted one of Anthony Fauci's aides yesterday over their handling of COVID records. There's three things right there that, pretty rough for the nothing is happening crowd, okay? The Supreme Court of Virginia also, big ruling, preliminary ruling yesterday on the redistricting referendum. I don't know, I'm kind of getting a little optimistic on what may be coming down the road there in Virginia regarding their redistricting referendum. So we have a lot to get to. We also have a new Harvard-Harris poll. I love this. Oh, so polling's accurate again? We trust the polls again? How many times do I have to explain to these deranged idiots on X? It's not that I trust the polling. It's that I look at polling as data. It's the only data that we have. We understand that polling is flawed. I have been looking and studying polling for years now. I know which pollsters lean in what directions. So when I look at a poll from Harvard-Harris, which is a left-leaning pollster, and I see favorable results for Republicans, I say, wow, that is significant. Now, I get a lot of people flooding in. That poll is fake. Okay. These people, the doomers, they come flooding in. The polls are fake. Okay. What data do you have that contradicts the poll? You got to understand, when you talk to me and you bring a contradicting opinion to an opinion that I may hold, or data that I may be analyzing and coming to a conclusion about, okay? You've got to bring more than just your opinion also. I will change my mind in the face of convincing data that backs up your stance. I will say, wow, that's convincing data. You've got numbers that clearly show that this poll is way out of whack. I believe you. But what I get flooded. Oh, you trust the polls? You trust the polls? What's wrong with you? Okay, I will gladly say that this poll is BS. Give me data. Don't just give me bitching and moaning in my mentions. Give me data. They never have the data. So my opinion is formed by what data is available to me, what I believe that data is suggesting, and the Harvard-Harris poll is suggesting that it's not all doom and gloom going into these midterms and that they're winnable. And we have been at this now, by the way, we've been citing the same poll since February. We've gone through a February, a March, and an April edition of the Harvard-Harris poll. And by the way, it's trending towards Republicans, not towards Democrats. I'm not telling you red wave, feet up, everything's good. I'm telling you, anyone who is also telling you that it's over already is full of sugar honey iced tea. Don't trust them. They're trying to demoralize you. I'm going to motivate you at the end of this show and show you how winnable these midterms are. We have the chance to do something historic. Let's not blow this opportunity. All right. We got a ton to get to today, and I mean a ton. So before we do that, I want to get to a word from our friends at OFP Farms. It is Mother's Day on the farm. May 10th is Mother's Day. I want you to give mom more than just a gift. I want you to give her a full-blown OFP experience. At OFP Farms, every product that they have, and you guys know this in the chat, everybody knows this in the chat, every product that OFP Farms sells is handcrafted right on their farm. They use fresh goat milk and grass-fed tallow, rich, nourishing ingredients that your mom's skin will absolutely love. It's more than just skincare. It's a daily reminder that she deserves to slow down, care for herself, and feel appreciated. For a limited time, folks, up until Mother's Day, which is May 10th, up until Mother's Day, you get 20% off your entire order with the code Sean. Folks, I can't say this enough. Order now, don't wait. Everyone loves to wait. Oh, I'm going to wait till the last second. You know what's going to happen? You wait till the last second, you're not going to get your package in time. It's not OFP Farms' fault. Shipping is a thing. It's a disaster sometimes in this country. Get it now, hold on to the box, and then give it to your mom or whoever you want to get this box for on Mother's Day, May 10th. It's right around the corner. Clean ingredients, small batches, real results from OFP Farms to mama's skin, because mom deserves to feel this good every single day. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean, OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. Get it while the getting's good. 20% off until Mother's Day, May 10th. Here's a quick video from the farm. Happy Mother's Day from OFP Farms, OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. Next sponsor is Armra Colostrum, nature's first food. It is a superfood. I love me some colostrum. You guys know that I am always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity and gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. That is what Armra Colostrum can do for you, and then some. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. Look, if you want to reactivate your hair growth, if you want your skin to glow, your skin can glow. You can take some Armra Colostrum. If you want to fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, I used to believe that whole thing was a myth to sell probiotics. Gut health is everything starts in the gut. No, it's true. You have a healthy gut, everything else feels better. You want to fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, you can do that over with Armra Colostrum. You can fuel your fitness, performance, and recovery as well. Check it out. It's TryArmra.com/LFATV. TryArmra.com/LFATV for up to 30% off your first order. TryArmra.com/LFATV. That's TryArmra.com. TryArmra.com/LFATV. Grey Wolf 9265 says, Sean, why do you have a button when you don't cuss? Because sometimes I can't help myself. So now if I feel one coming, I can just say, shut the up. And so you'll read the lips, and it is what it is. But it's great. It's great. I try not to. I want to keep it as clean as possible. So now we have a way to keep it even cleaner, which is awesome. By the way, new soundboard is on the way. It has been ordered, and we should have it in operation by next Monday.
Shenanigans will be shenaniganing.
The shenanigans will begin. Now, I have 8 buttons here on my new big beautiful mixer, and we played you some of them yesterday. We have the someone gets owned. We have the air horn, right? We love that. We have the applause. Love the applause. If Joy Reid's coming on the screen, we have the alarm. Well, it's like the fake news alarm too, but I added some custom ones in there. So we have...
Obviously, the Karen button. I want to speak to the manager right now.
We have that, but we also have one of my personal favorites, this one.
How dare you?
Yes, that would be Greta Thunberg, and of course, Greta Thunberg's new bestie.
Who do you think you are?
Tucker Carlson, Tehran Tuck. And then, of course, everybody in the chat loves this. That's right. We have an Ahuya button now, so that's great. Speaking of Ahuya and the unseasoned boiled chicken breast, we have another example of the unseasoned boiled chicken breast that we'll get to towards the end of the show. It's pretty funny. But let's start off with James Comey. James Comey was indicted, and he said...
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are? Right. Okay. James Comey indicted over the 8647 post. Let me get into kind of what I was talking about before. All right. I'm not going to tell you right now that I think the Comey seashells case, right, the seashells post is a strong case, right? As there seems to be a lot of different angles that are being floated out there that you could defend what he did, with a First Amendment aligned defense. All right. Now, I get the indictment was, threatening the life of the president of the United States. And there is no First Amendment defense if you did indeed threaten the life of the president of the United States. I get all of that. I'm looking at this saying, well, all we saw was a social media post. I just came on here a couple of weeks ago and said, people were calling for the 25th Amendment on Trump after the End Civilization post. And, Tucker Carlson clutched his pearls.
Who do you think you are?
With the, F word on Easter. Who do you think you are? This whole thing. So I was like, let's not make a big deal over social media posts. And then the Department of Justice indicted James Comey over a social media post. But I don't believe that's all there is, okay? I don't believe that's all there is. I don't think the case is necessarily weak either. Here's why. A grand jury had to have seen something else besides the screenshot of James Comey's 8647 post on Instagram. I know the cliche is, well, you can indict a ham sandwich. Right? In other words, a bank got robbed at 2:00 Central Time on Tuesday, April 28th, and a ham sandwich was in the same bank on Tuesday at 2:00 Central Time, April 28th. Therefore, the ham sandwich robbed the bank. Let's indict the ham sandwich. And it's like, that's how simple it can be, right? Now, would a grand jury, of human beings actually indict a sandwich for committing a crime? Probably not, which leads me to this common sense kind of discussion. I don't believe that a grand jury of human beings, in North Carolina would indict James Comey for threatening the life of the president of the United States if all they had was a social media post. Okay? So to anybody who is like, oh, we're indicting over Instagram posts now, not necessarily. And I would bet a lot of money on there's a lot more evidence than just the Instagram post. The grand jury saw something. It had to be more than just a picture of seashells arranged in 8647. That grand jury saw enough evidence to indict James Comey for a pretty serious crime, threatening the life of the president of the United States. The bottom line is, the only thing we have seen is the social media post. But that does not mean that's the only thing that was presented to the grand jury. I am excited to see, and I'm curious to see, what other evidence was submitted to that grand jury that convinced them to hand down this pretty serious indictment. You'd have to believe that it's more than just an Instagram post. And for the sake of the case, and frankly, for the sake of justice, I hope it's more than just an Instagram post too. And I think it is. Now, I'm not just going to tell you I think it is and then move on. We have press conference clips from yesterday when they announced this indictment. Let's start with the Eastern District of North Carolina U.S. Attorney who announced this indictment. And he seems like a pretty no BS guy. Take a listen.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Earlier today, a grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned a true bill indicting Mr. James Comey with committing 2 felonies. Count 1, he knowingly and willfully made a threat to kill and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States in violation of 18 U.S.C. 871A. Count 2, he knowingly and willfully transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill President Trump in violation of 18 U.S.C. 875C. Mr. Comey will be given every form of due process all citizens are entitled to receive, to include a trial by a jury of his peers. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, it doesn't matter who you are. We take all threat cases seriously and prosecute anyone who violates federal law, regardless of title or status.
All right, so pretty much a blanket statement there, but he seems like a no BS type of guy. Again, here is my stance. For anyone who's trying to downplay this indictment as, oh, he just got indicted over seashells. No. It's not just, this is not just charges levied, some petty charge levied, upon a political opponent because he posted a picture of seashells. That's not what happened here. A grand jury saw something else. I'm not telling you he's getting convicted. I'm telling you that there's more to this indictment than just seashells. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay? Here's Kash Patel talking about what happened here. And we got, a question a lot of people have been asking is, wow, Pam Bondi's gone and all of a sudden all this stuff starts happening. I'll talk about that in a second because I don't think that's as simple either as it seems. But there also may be a little bit of weight to that. Let's listen to Kash Patel talk about this indictment first.
As you heard from the Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney, former FBI Director James Comey, has now been indicted for 2 felony counts. While many of you may read this indictment and view this matter as a simple investigation, it is the farthest thing from that. Every single investigation this FBI and our partners at the Department of Justice undertake especially those that involve the threats to harm or hurt or even kill individuals, whether they hold public office or civilians in our country, are met with the same measure of investigative prowess and tools and personnel in partnership with the Department of Justice as anyone else. As the U.S. Attorney indicated, James Comey will be afforded every matter of due process under the United States Constitution. And as the Attorney General indicated, this has been a case that's been investigated over the past 9, 10, 11 months.
Stop. Did you hear what Kash Patel said? This is a case that's been investigated over the last 9, 10, or 11 months. That means that Pam Bondi was compiling evidence in this case. The Department of Justice, anyway, under the leadership of Pam Bondi. I'm not trying to tell you that I like Pam Bondi. I think there's something else going on here. I'm not telling you that I thought you know me, I said almost a year ago I wanted her fired. I was happy when she left. I think there's a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more than just Bondi's out, now the Department of Justice is moving. And there may be a little bit of strategy involved too. Interesting. All right. Here's Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general right now, talking about this case too. And what evidence was included, what kinds of evidence was included in the indictment that convinced a grand jury to indict James Comey for threatening to kill the President of the United States.
Go ahead. Yes.
Sir, how will you prove intent when, as the director had acknowledged, Mr. Comey said he did not associate 86 with doing harm, and he took it down promptly, said it was political speech, not an intent to harm the president?
Well, it's not. This case was indicted today. This conduct occurred about a year ago, May 15th of last year. There's been a tremendous amount of investigation. And how do you prove intent in any case? You prove intent with witnesses, with documents, with the defendant himself to the extent it's appropriate. And that's how we'll improve intent in this case. And so I think that talking about what Mr. Comey will or will not do if there's a trial, when there's a trial, it's very premature for me to do that today.
All right. So Sherry Welsh, is that her name? Sherry Welsh, yeah, in the chat said, in my opinion, I think Blanche is trying to get the AG job, and that's why he's finally doing something. But also, in my opinion, once he gets it, then he'll slack off. All right. I'm not sure about the slacking off part. But I do think it's interesting that we know these cases are not microwave cases. These are not cases that, one day nothing is happening and then the next day there's indictments all over the place. That's not how this works. What do we say on this show all the time? Justice is slow, injustice moves quickly, right? That's what we say all the time. So these cases were clearly being worked on. Clearly. Now, was Pam Bondi slow walking the cases? I don't know. Maybe she was. Maybe she wasn't. What I find interesting, because this is how politics works, is that she's gone and the Department of Justice has gone rapid fire on a lot of these things. The Proud Boys case, those convictions are vacated. The SPLC was indicted. 22 locations in Minneapolis raided. Fauci's aide indicted. James Comey indicted again. And so on and so forth. All of the pro-life protesters who were harassed by the Department of Justice under Biden, those attorneys for the DOJ, they were fired. And that report was released that showed collusion between pro-abortion groups and the Department of Justice to target pro-lifers. I find it interesting that all of it happened after Bondi left. Is Todd Blanche posturing here? Is Todd, and I'm not saying he is. I literally, this is me. Like I'm not doing the cheap.
I'm just asking questions.
I'm literally just asking questions. Is Todd Blanche posturing here and saying, look what I've done in my short time as the interim attorney general, give me the permanent job? I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's what was happening, because that is how politics works. He's the deputy attorney general. He knows what was down the pipeline, what was in the works. Bondi's gone. Hey, this is my time to shine. Hey, let me go ahead and show everybody that I can get things done. It's kind of like, say like this. A football team fires their head coach in the middle of the season, and the interim head coach now, the assistant head coach, is elevated to head coach. And now all of a sudden, that team that's like 1-8 has 5 easy games on the schedule, and they win all 5 in a row because they're playing against awful teams and, whatever. That interim head coach, look, I just won 5 games in a row. I should get the permanent job. I'm not saying that there was some sort of like internal coup here. I'm saying I think Blanche saw an opportunity to elevate himself in the absence of Pam Bondi, and perhaps that's what's going on here. Now, that's okay, because we're seeing cases move forward. We're seeing good things. These are net positive. These are wins on the spreadsheet. That's okay. I want to see the Department of Justice continue to be this active. I don't know if Bondi was the problem, the only problem, but I'm pretty sure we can all say she was a problem, right? I'm pretty sure we can say that she was a problem. Maybe not the problem, but a problem. Now, I've heard some good things about Blanche. I've heard some bad things about Blanche. I'm going to judge Todd Blanche based off of what I see and what I actually know. And what I'm seeing right now is a Department of Justice that seems to be taking its job a little more seriously than it did over the past year under Bondi. Whether that's Blanche posturing and, kind of bowing up to everybody and no, don't mess with us, or that's the way the Department of Justice is actually going to operate, I don't know. All I know is that we're getting a lot of +1s from the Department of Justice over the last couple of weeks since Bondi's departure. That's what I know. What I also know is, well, I don't know. So I don't want to say this the wrong way. I didn't want to say this the wrong way. So we're just going to abandon that one. We'll wrap up this Comey situation right here. Here's James Comey. This is from the phenomenal Mazemore on X. He just does a great job with these videos. James Comey talking about January 6th. There's anybody who walked in the Capitol, let me go after them. Doesn't matter if it's a misdemeanor crime. We're going to make them pay. All right, well, now you're getting a taste of your own medicine, the syrup of Ipecac, as Dan Bongino likes to call it. Watch this.
Do you agree with the strategy of focusing on the Oath Keepers and focusing on prosecuting that group of individuals first in order for it to be a deterrent?
You've got to throw the net wide, get all of them, both the organized groups, Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, but find everybody who went into that building. Find them all. Again, not because of my concern that those people who committed a misdemeanor they're going to go into the community and reoffend. The message has to be sent of zero tolerance. We will find everyone and punish everyone who went in there so that no one does it again. We will hunt you to the end of the earth, even for a misdemeanor, and make you pay for that, to send that message.
Even for a misdemeanor, he said. Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wanda said something in the chat just before, said, I want to keep him at arm's length, Blanche, at arm's length, because he did block Ed Martin. And that is why I am like this on Todd Blanche. We have some good things coming right now with the Department of Justice. They seem to be a lot more active. But there is that whole him not jiving with Ed Martin, and I'm a bigger fan of Ed Martin than I am of Todd Blanche. I'll just say that, okay? So, look, bottom line with the Comey case, timing is very interesting, especially after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But we've seen Butler. We've seen the golf course assassin, Ryan Wesley Ruth. We've seen the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We've seen a conviction. What's his name? Arif Merchant or something in Brooklyn. He was hired by the IRGC to assassinate the president of the United States. So we've seen these assassination attempts time and time again. Butler, the golf course, the IRGC guy who's convicted in Brooklyn, Merchant, the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We've seen all the assassination attempts and the threats against the life of the president, President Trump. The Department of Justice is saying we're taking it seriously. Whether or not Comey is convicted for the 8647 Seashells post, it's going to be tough. I think it's a long shot to get a conviction. However, I don't think that this case is quote unquote frivolous or has no weight because a grand jury still chose to indict him, a former director of the FBI, for a very serious crime. Threatening to kill the president is a very serious crime. And if convicted, I mean, he's going to be spending a considerable amount of time in jail, most likely. This is not what would be considered like a nonviolent offense, I don't think. Threatening to kill the president of the United States doesn't seem nonviolent to me. It's a threat of actual violence. That grand jury in North Carolina had to have seen more than just an Instagram post of seashells arranged in a way that says 8647. They also are probably given evidence that says this guy's a former FBI director. He knows what the term 86 could mean. Yes, in the restaurant industry, it means get rid of or discard. But
kind of the same thing.
It is kind of the same thing.
When you get rid of a person, it's the same thing.
Right. I mean, you say get rid of a president, you could vote him out. There's the point of the matter is the grand jury had to have seen more than just a social media post. So for anybody to say he's being indicted on just a social media post, that's irresponsible. And in my eyes, I mean, it could be. That grand jury could have just been a room full of people who hated James Comey. Maybe they did. I don't think so. The grand jury in the Comey indictment, the 8647 indictment, had to have seen more than just an Instagram post. So before we look at this and say, this is ridiculous, why are we going after people for social media posts? I thought we don't do the mean tweets game. I thought we don't do that. Well, we don't. That grand jury had to have seen more than just seashells arranged to say 8647 to indict James Comey for threatening to kill the president of the United States. There has to be more. And for the sake of the case, I hope there's more. So now we wait and see. When that evidence comes out, if this thing goes to trial and we start seeing this evidence, maybe there's more. Maybe there's messages of Comey, blurting out that, yeah, I know what this means. I hope someone takes that. Maybe that's in there. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. Let's not rush to conclusions and jump to conclusions on either side of the discussion here. We'll see what happens. All right. And we're going to take a quick break, get to a word from our friends at Cove Pure. COVEPURE. By the way, a quick word of advice. When you are filling your Cove Pure tank, don't walk away from it because you might forget that you're filling it, especially if you're filling it out of the sink.
We had an indoor swimming pool yesterday in our kitchen.
Because I'm a scatterbrain and, I've got the memory of a goldfish. I put the sink, I put the little hose in the...
And I've told him to put the whole thing in the
tank,
sink, and he refuses.
In the tank.
He puts it on the counter.
And I put it on the counter, and I walked into this room, and then I was like, oh no, the Cove Pure, it's filling. And I get out to there, and there is just a waterfall going off the counter into the drawers all over the place. Thankfully,
I was in a different room, and I hear Sean go, oh no.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so don't fill the Cove Pure outside of the sink and don't walk away from it while it's filling. Other than that, see, this is not a design flaw. This is a human error. That is a human error.
I've told him many a time to put it in the sink, and did he know?
Sometimes there's not room in the sink, in fairness.
Yesterday there was plenty of room.
That sink was wide open. But sometimes there's not room in the sink, in fairness. All right, here we go. Let's get to a word from our friends at Cove Pure. I do love the Cove Pure. This is not Cove Pure's fault. It's my fault. I just, I didn't remember it. So don't do that.
The kitchen is squeaky clean now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That floor's never been cleaner. So, you're welcome, right? There it is.
We were in there mopping it up for like 30 minutes.
It was bad. It was bad. Cove Pure. It was a design flaw of Sean, as Grey Wolf says. Yes, there it is. CovePure.com/Sean, CovePure.com/SHAWN. Folks, you know all about it. In our water, there's fluoride. The government has been medicating your water with fluoride for over 80 years, not because you asked for it, but because they decided that you needed it. That was it. Their decision, not yours, even though it should be your decision, not theirs. Well, it's not a decision that I want someone else making for me or anybody in my house. That's why We filter every single drop of water in our home with Cove Pure. Over 209 million Americans are on fluoridated water right now, and here's what the science actually shows. In September of 2024, a federal judge ruled that adding fluoride to water poses, and I'm quoting the court directly, an unreasonable risk to neurological health. Not a fringe study, a federal court ordering the EPA to act. Then, in 2025, a study published by JAMA Pediatrics, one of the most respected medical journals in the world, confirmed a link between fluoride exposure and children's IQ scores. The higher the exposure, the lower the IQ. Sure, some states are moving on it. Utah has, Florida has, they both banned it, but that process takes years to actually go into effect. Your kids, your family, anybody in your home drinking water, they are drinking the fluoridated water right now. You need something that works today. And that is exactly what Cove Pure is. Its Clearwave reverse osmosis technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants, including fluoride, PFAs, lead, pharmaceuticals, and heavy metals. Anything that isn't water gets filtered out. So the reverse osmosis takes everything out of the water, and then the Cove Pure, before it dispenses it into your glass or copper cup, decides it's going to put potassium. Is it potassium? It's magnesium and calcium back into the water. So that's what I love about this Cove Pure unit. It has a pitcher if you want to take it around, pour it into things. It has the little instant dispense. You can press it, and then it dispenses into your cup. You can customize how much comes out. I love this thing. CovePure.com/Sean, CovePure.com/SHAWN for $250 off. That's a lot of money you could save. And it's a great investment long-term for you, your family, your health, anybody in your home. CovePure.com/SHAWN, CovePure.com/Sean. I've seen people say, I'm getting it for my kids, for the grandkids, so everyone's drinking clean water. And the best part, on the screen, it measures total dissolved solids, and it abbreviates it by saying TDS. So you get to see how much Trump derangement syndrome is being removed from your water. Go to CovePure.com/Sean, CovePure.com/SHAWN for $250 off. And fill it in the sink.
Yeah, and this won't turn your frogs gay.
No. This actually may reverse the gayness of the frogs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, fill it in the sink.
Fill it in the sink. Fill it in the sink.
You want an
Unless you want to go swimming in the kitchen. There you go. Fill it in.
When we were cleaning it up,
Clover came in. She was like,
we had to empty one of the drawers because there was literally an inch of water in the drawer.
Yeah.
And Clover comes.
She snuck in. She was like,
what the heck is going on in here?
What happened? What happened? All right, here we go. Let's move on. I saw the water overfilling, and I went,
How dare you?
How dare you? All right, let's move on. FBI raiding Minnesota fraud centers yesterday. 22 locations, one of them being the infamous Leering Center. This was a report that broke on Fox News yesterday. Take a listen.
Now, large-scale raids targeting federal fraud currently underway. Federal agents seen leaving the Quality Learning Center. And Brooke Taylor has more on that and what they're looking for. Brooke, good morning.
Hi, Bill. Good morning. Yeah, we have had a photographer there at the daycare since this morning, capturing video of those federal agents just going in and out of the building, collecting evidence as part of the DOJ's fraud investigation in Minnesota. Take a look at this video here. Sources tell Fox that federal agents are raiding about 22 businesses across Minneapolis this morning. And sources say many of them are tied to Somali-owned operations. All of this comes after that viral YouTube video from Nick Shirley. It was back in December. In that video, he visited different child care centers. And you'll remember they were either closed or there were just no children inside, despite receiving state child care funding. Now,
all right, 22 locations rated. You know, she's going to summarize it for you, but it's the Leering Center. They called it the Learning Center. It's not what it's called. It's the Leering Center, right? The Quality Leering Center was raided yesterday. 22 other locations in Minneapolis raided yesterday in connection to the fraud scheme in Minnesota, which conveniently, right, were linked to Somali-owned businesses. Yeah, okay. Here is a Minnesota state trooper that testified, I believe, in the Minnesota state legislature about this fraud. This is infuriating. Listen to this testimony.
I regularly joined with various investigators and agents as we interviewed the owners and employees of the child care centers being investigated. More than once, I heard an owner or employee respond when we asked where they first learned about the daycare scam. They would say they had first heard about it while in the refugee camp in Kenya. These individuals told us that they had heard you could run the scam in a number of different states, but it was easiest and you could make the most money doing it in Minnesota.
Wow. So they're talking about in a refugee camp in Kenya. They are talking about coming to Minnesota. Well, they're talking about it, according to that trooper, in a refugee camp in Kenya, they are talking about running a scam in the United States, a welfare scam and all this, taxpayer-funded scam, and that the easiest place to do it is Minnesota. They're talking about that in another country. Scheming with each other on how to come to the United States of America and steal your money. And then he got tampon Tim Walz yesterday. Fraud is, fraud is one of these things. We're not going to take it lightly. You're taking credit for it now? You blocked the investigations into the fraud. And now he's taking credit for it? Absolutely not. Kash Patel came out and said, absolutely not. No. That is not going to fly. 22 locations yesterday raided. I saw somebody in the chat, and I'm not going to name them, but I'm going to take issue with this comment. Oh, they waited too long. Gave them enough time to destroy the evidence. See, this is the type of, and I'm not saying this person is a doomer, but this is the type of demoralization, doomer mindset that we have to avoid. Yes, it takes long. It has to take long. Justice moves slowly. Injustice moves quickly. And destruction of evidence is a crime. You had that one guy, that Somali. This is terrible. All the evidence that proved that we weren't running a fraudulent business was destroyed last night. Yeah, sure. You're not dealing with the brightest people here. If they destroyed evidence, there's probably some smoke signal that they sent back to their huts in Somalia that says, we destroyed evidence, okay? This is the one thing. Nothing is happening. Something happens. It didn't happen fast enough. Stop that. Stop that. I mean, it's a legitimate concern, yes. But we're not dealing with the brightest of the bright. And it is always two sides to this one, too. It's like, wow, I can't believe these Somalis are so brave to steal all that money. Well, it's because they know nothing's going to happen to them. Then something happens to them, and it's like, well, it happened too slowly, so there's going to be no evidence. Stop. Because in that situation, there's no way for you to win, okay? Take it easy. I think this case is in great hands. This is, again, an extension of the J.D. Vance Anti-Fraud Task Force that's suspending hospice licenses in California. They're raiding locations in Minnesota. This is a good thing. Celebrate the good things. Don't always look for when something good happens, a yeah, but. That's silly. That's demoralizing. I'm not saying everything's perfect. I'm not saying we can't have our concerns. What I'm saying is when good things happen, applaud the good things. Don't be the guy in the back corner with the applause. Yeah, well, still, the movie was good, but it was like too long. Did you enjoy the movie? Yes. Okay, so it was a little long, but you enjoyed the movie? Yes. Okay, the movie did its job. The movie's there to entertain you. Let's take these wins that we're getting and actually be happy with the wins. Don't be looking for ways every time there's a win. Yeah, but here's how it's really a loss. That's demoralizing. That's going to hurt us. We don't want to get hurt. Okay? That's all. That's it. Have your concerns. Good.
A misfit says, someone tell Sean SCOTUS struck down LA racial redistricting. I don't know what that means, but he wants me to tell you.
The Supreme Court struck down SCOTUS racial redistricting.
LA racial.
Los Angeles?
I don't know. It just says LA, I guess.
I'm going to have to look this up. SCOTUS racial.
I'm just the messenger.
Is this the Voting Rights Act? Yes! This is the... Woo! This is huge!
Oh, okay. Yay!
Yes!
I know exactly what it is.
Oh, my goodness. All right. LA, Louisiana, not Los Angeles. I was going to say, why is it Los Angeles? Oh, this is so big. Guys, this is so big. The rest of the show's in the garbage. In the garbage. This is so big. Oh, my. Woo! Yeah! All the sound effects. Thank you, Misfit. Thank you, Brennan.
You're welcome.
For jumping in there. Holy smokes. Okay, we have been talking about this since last year. Everyone's like, okay, stop celebrating. Tell us what this means. We have been talking about this since last year. The Voting Rights Act scared states into, by the way, here's the article on your screen right there. It's on Fox News. We have been talking about this since last year. The Voting Rights Act scared states into racially redistricting like black districts. The states have gone, excuse me. Oh, this is playing. I'm like, where's all this noise coming from? So there are states like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Texas, Louisiana that have like overly racially gerrymandered districts. This case essentially says that you don't have to do that, and actually doing that is illegal. This is going to allow, if places like Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, some of these other places, to redistrict further, this could give Republicans up to 12 to 15 seats in the House. Yes. All right. Okay. That's the Supreme Court. There's no other. I have been waiting for this ruling. I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, Lord. Yes. All right. You know who's excited about this? Chase Bose is excited about this. Yeah, sure. I got to text him. All right. We're going to have to get him on again, hopefully in the next couple days now, to talk about this whole case. First, before we get into that, and another Supreme Court case state Supreme Court case out of Virginia we'll touch on also, I want to get to a word from our friends at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
I'm sure by now you've heard that silver went up 160% last year, 2025. I bought this silver for $22 an ounce. It's now worth almost $100. And we and experts think that silver is going to get up to about $200 an ounce. Palladium and platinum were stuck at $900 an ounce for like over a year, or in that area. Now they're up over $2,000. Gold is approaching $5,000 an ounce. If you have ever thought about putting some or all of your retirement or nest egg or savings or just buying bullion in precious metals, now's the time to do it. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Go leave your name, your email, and your phone number. Schedule a time to talk to the folks over at Golden Crest Metals. Get your free gold guide today, and make sure you tune in on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Crest Report, where we dive deep into precious metals, why they're doing what they're doing, and where we expect them to go. It is like insider trading. Nancy Pelosi knows about that. We don't. It's just inside information. It's not even really that. It's called knowledge. Get yours today and get a part of gold, silver, palladium, and platinum, and diversify your portfolio today. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
goldencrestmetals.com/LFA on this Voting Rights Act Destruction Day. Well, it's not destruction, but they narrowed Section 2. Let me get into this this ruling here. We'll do a little bit more about it tomorrow as more analysis comes out. We can look at it. Supreme Court on Wednesday limited the scope of a key Voting Rights Act provision that restricts how states draw districts after affecting minority voters, constraining states' use of race as a factor when drawing congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterms. Justices for the majority, 6-3, ruled that Louisiana's newly redrawn congressional map, which created a second majority black district, constituted an illegal racial gerrymander. Though the justices acknowledged that compliance with the VRA can be a compelling interest for states, they ruled it did not require Louisiana to create a new map with a second majority black district. Compliance with Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, quote, as properly construed, can provide such a reason, Justice Samuel Alito said, writing for the majority. Correctly understood, Section 2 does not impose liability at odds with the Constitution, and it should not have imposed liability on Louisiana for its 2022 map. Compliance with Section 2 thus could not justify the state's use of race-based redistricting here. There are a ton of southern states who have racially based gerrymandered maps. And now, because they did that because of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, this ruling says those states do not have to do that, which means it can net Republicans between 12 and 15 seats, in theory, in the upcoming midterms. This is massive. Massive. All right. Let me get to a word from our friends at Silent. Then I want to tell you something else that might be massive, because the redistricting fight might be shifting heavily now in our favor ahead of the midterms. This is great. A word from our friends at Silent, slnt.com/Sean. Let's face it, your phone is a tracking device between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, and those pesky cyber criminals. Everybody wants a piece of your digital footprint, and they don't ask. They just take it. They're supposed to ask, but they take it. All right. Silent makes Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. It's the same technology that's trusted by special operations teams around the world, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, that technology is available to you. So you can protect your family, you can protect your freedom, and you can secure your digital footprint. Just drop your phone in a Silent Faraday sleeve, and it is off the grid, completely silent, and invisible to the outside world. From their backpacks to their sleeves to their crossbodies, Silent's patented technology gives you total control of your privacy. Visit slnt.com/Sean. Get 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. That is slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com, slnt.com. Silence the chaos. Go silent today. slnt.com/SHAWN. All right. Another court case yesterday regarding redistricting. The Virginia Supreme Court declined to lift the lower court's pause on the certification of the redistricting vote. What does this mean when you have a refusal to lift an injunction? Well, let's read the tea leaves a little bit. Here's Ken Cuccinelli. Not my favorite guy, but not my least favorite guy. The Virginia Supreme Court denied the emergency request to stay the injunction of certification of last week's gerrymandering referendum. So you had last week's vote last Tuesday. It passed by very slim margins. And then a court immediately said, you cannot certify this. We are stopping the process because we don't know if this thing is legal. And the circuit court judge, the emergency request, that circuit court judge in Virginia said, this is unconstitutional. You cannot certify this. If the Supreme Court of Virginia thought that at the end of this appeal, that the referendum would be upheld, then they most likely would have lifted the stay and allowed the referendum to be certified. They did not do that. That does not mean that this is definitely going to be struck down, but it is a very good sign, because a lot of times when you have these injunctions, right, when a court blocks something and then you appeal the injunction, say, hey, lift that thing. This is ridiculous. If the court says, yeah, at the end of the day, when we're done with this appeal, we believe we're going to lift it anyway, then they will stay that injunction and lift it. But on the other side, if the court thinks at the end of the appeal that they won't lift the injunction or that the injunction will stand, then they'll likely say, well, we're going to wait for this whole thing to play out to see what ultimately happens. It's a very good sign in Virginia. It's a huge, huge thing that's gone on there. Now, they have not ruled on the merits of any of these cases yet, so I don't want to get too excited. Voting Rights Act has me excited, but I don't want to get too excited. But it is a good sign that things are moving in the right direction over in Virginia's Supreme Court regarding their redistricting. All right.
I don't want to get too excited after you just
No,
Oh, okay.
I said the Voting Rights Act has me excited. That's why I was excited. So I'm allowed to get excited about that.
No, I know. I don't want to get too excited. And I was just after you just celebrated for that.
But I said why I celebrated, because it was the Voting Rights Act. So I said I don't want to get too excited about the Virginia case, but the VRA case, absolutely I'm excited about.
Oh, I see.
All right, here we go. Finally, We're going to get to the indictment of Fauci's co-conspirator, whatever. We'll do that tomorrow because there's a whole pardon argument and the auto pen argument, which everyone loves to tell me I'm wrong about the auto pen. Guys, I'm not wrong about the auto pen. Those pardons are not being overturned. I'm telling you. Stop believing in bullshit, okay? Stop. All right. Harvard-Harris poll, we've been tracking it for the last couple months. Democrats had a 3-point lead. Democrats had a 2-point lead. Now, all of a sudden, no blue wave. Now, all of a sudden, it is tied. Look at that. The race for Congress is a dead heat with voters evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans. It is a 50-50 tie. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If this holds, let's just go out and say that on Election Day in 2026, it is an even split. 50-50. One side's obviously going to get more votes, but let's say it's even. Republicans gain seats. Period. Just like in the presidential elections, when you look at the electoral map and then you look at the popular vote, a president can win the presidency, a presidential candidate, a Republican can win without winning the popular vote because of the Electoral College. Same thing. Republicans can afford to lose on the generic ballot by up to 3 points and still not lose the House of Representatives, although with a slim majority, it's kind of tough. If it's dead even, Republicans gain seats. I'm telling you that these midterms are winnable. The people that we're running against, they are their own worst enemy and their platform. These midterms are winnable. The Voting Rights Act, the redistricting moves that the Republicans have made, and folks, the fact that we don't want to hand our country to Marxists, these midterms are winnable. Lock in, get ready to get on the streets, campaigning door to door, bringing people to the polls. That is how we're going to win this thing. And on that note, we will turn it over to the great Jeremy Harrell here on LFA TV with Live from America for the next few hours. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Remember what day it is. Someone asked, did you say the pardons are getting overturned or not? They're not getting overturned. Stop. They're not getting overturned. Have a great rest of your day. Remember to subscribe to us anywhere you get your podcast by going to any podcasting app. Search Ungoverned. Hit subscribe. That's all you got to do. And we will be back here tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, rumble.com/LFA TV. Jeremy Harrell next. Thank you for your attention to this matter.